Hi, can I get a large hot coffee with cream and sugar?
Large hot cream and sugar, okay?
That's it.
232.
This is my 1000th video. How you doing, Duff here? And this is a very special video. And the reason it's special is because this is the 1000th video on my channel. Yeah, I'm not kidding. There are literally 1000 videos on my channel. Yeah, I'm surprised too. That's a big number. Like if you even go to some much more popular and established YouTube channels, there's not a whole lot of them that have 1000 videos. I actually started making videos a long time ago. It started in the late 90s, and they were volleyball videos. I was very, very big into volleyball for probably a decade or more, mostly when I lived up in Pennsylvania, but part of the time I lived down in Florida. And yeah, I used to make highlight videos. I used to make them on my Sony Vaio, and I used the editing software that was included with it. I can't remember what it was called at this point. And looking back at them, they were kind of cheesy. You see a couple of them playing around me right now. Of course, myself and my volleyball partners, we thought that they were the coolest videos ever. I mean, they had every special effect you can imagine, every transition. It was kind of overload, but we thought it was cool. You know, I used to put a music bed of, you know, popular music, no thought about copyright infringement, all that kind of crap. Actually, when I was first getting into YouTube, I actually copied those videos up to YouTube, some of my very first videos, and of course they got taken down rather quickly because of copyright infringements, but I do still have them on my website, so if you want to see them, there'll be a link in the description below. So like I said, I actually started in YouTube, I don't know, in the early 2000s, something like that. Can't remember when my first video exactly was, but yeah, I got into it pretty early, and at first most of my stuff was either volleyball or RC plane related. Shortly after I moved to Florida, a friend of mine got me into RC planes, and yeah, I used to actually have a camera attached to the plane, did some aerial video with it. Super primitive compared to what you could do today, but yeah, that was my next phase in YouTubing. One of my early big videos I had online was a video of my speed wing. I had an RC speed wing with the battery disconnecting when it was several hundred feet in the ground, and the wing tumbled to the ground, and yeah, people liked watching that video. That was one of my early big hits. I never really thought much about what I was posting, how I was doing it, who would want to see it. You know, I don't know, I just thought it was things that interested me. So I assumed other people would be interested as well. A lot of my early videos had to do with car repairs. The way that I usually shoot a video is I kind of show the good, bad, and ugly parts of it. You know, a lot of videos that you'll see with repairs on the internet, you would think that everything always goes perfectly. You know, they have no problems, bing bang boom, and at least in my experience, that isn't how things go. And of course, some people like to give me a hard time for some of the dumb mistakes I make when I'm doing this kind of stuff, which is fine. You know, it's to be expected. But I would say overall, more people appreciate that I kind of show the warts that are involved with some projects as well. So it's just the way I like to do things. Actually, of my top most viewed videos on the channel, I think out of the top 10 videos, probably 8 of them are related to automotive projects. Maybe 7. Even simple oil change videos get a decent amount of views, believe it or not. I found that lots of people go to YouTube to find out how to do stuff, including myself. So yeah, if you're looking for a way to build a channel, how-to videos is a good way.
Oh, did I mention that the Eagles won the Super Bowl? E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! So for a period of like maybe 3 or 4 years, my channel had mostly exercise videos on it. I was in my mid to early 40s and I was really into the bar fitness routine at that time. I was so into like doing bar workouts and that kind of stuff that I built this and that, this, and even this. So yeah, all that stuff was used. I did a lot of working out back there in my bar park, and I still do on occasion, but not nearly to the degree that I used to. Yeah, for a while I was even involved with a group called the Barbarians, which is based out of New York City. I actually hosted their website, maintained their website, and organized monthly fitness challenges where like a bunch of people from all over the world would compete to do various exercises for numbers, duration, all kinds of funny stuff like that. So for a long period of time, my channel was primarily filled with that kind of stuff. And even though it was fun to do, and that was probably the best shape I ever was in my life, the videos themselves weren't exactly interesting. Watching a guy do push-ups for rep after rep, pull-ups, it's just not very compelling. So once I got my first drone several years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, so once I got my drone, I did a lot of videos just because it was so cool to have something that was so stable. I actually had the GoPro that you're listening to right now. It was mounted to my Phantom 2, and yeah, I did a lot of video with that thing. I took it along on several road trips, my last one being in 2014, and that trip actually resulted in my prosecution by the National Park Service for flying a drone in Yellowstone Park. And I'll link that video below. Even if you're not into drones, you might find that interesting. Interesting video to watch because it outlines some pretty crazy things that went down. And even though it's not my most viewed video, it has around 25,000 views. It is my most commented video by far. It has somewhere in the vicinity of 500 to 600 comments on it. So if you got a spare 10 minutes, take a look at that. So after that incident, I really didn't fly hardly at all. It really kind of bummed me out, and if you watch that video, you'll see why. It was a very frustrating and annoying for several reasons. But I later got the Mavic Pro that you're watching the footage of right now, which makes it way easier because it has an integrated camera, gimbal, picture quality is way better, it's a 4K camera. So I have been doing some aerial video with this, but not nearly as much. It just seems like, I don't know, I'm having a hard time getting the same enthusiasm for flying drones as I once had, just because of all the restrictions that are going on out there. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's harder to list places where you can fly without getting harassed versus places that you cannot, especially if you live in Canada. Now this drone's so stable that even though it's windy right now, you can't even tell as I fly by Cindy's she shed. Very smooth, very smooth. Where's Elsa at? Okay. Elsa's here somewhere. Here she is. She doesn't look too bad right now. So yeah, drones, part of the channel, but not nearly as big as it once was. A big part of my channel has been like automotive related stuff, automotive repairs, automotive projects, and it also had to do with like my Well, I guess definitely the first one was a hobby vehicle. I had a Chevy 2005 Chevy SSR for going on 3 years, something like that. I got it right after, I'm sorry, I got it right before I separated from my second wife, actually. And when I bought that thing, I thought it was going to be my forever car, like my project car, well, project truck, actually. Spent tons of money doing all kinds of upgrades to it. Really looked at it as a prized possession for a number of years, or at least, well, I should say a couple of years. And then my interest in that waned, and I found that the truck was just sitting in the garage for more and more extended periods of time, and one day I just woke up to the rationalization that didn't make much sense. So I wound up selling the SSR and my 99 Tacoma, and using some of those proceeds to buy my 2016 Tacoma TRD Sport, which has been a subject of many videos. I've done a number of modifications on them. Nothing super major. The two biggest were installing the 3-to-1 lift kit and the towing hitch and electronic brake controller that was installed a month or two ago. So, but Tacoma content is always some of my best on the channel. People are always looking for information about Tacomas. I found that out. So the other two major subject matters of my channel recently, and by recently I would say the last couple of years, has been electric unicycles. You can see them both behind me. Electric unicycles, which I now currently have 5 electric unicycles and 2 Segway Mini Pros. We started off with the Segway Mini Pros. And obviously my interest has grown from there. My original electric unicycle was a 9-bot-1, which I later gave to Katie's boyfriend, and I've since bought all of these wheels plus 2 wheels for Katie as well as Christmas gifts the last 2 Christmases. So yeah, I've spent a lot of money on electric vehicles in the past couple years. And my other big interest lately has been 3D printing. Much like electric unicycles, my stable of 3D printers has grown since I started the hobby last April, I believe. I currently have 4 printers. Right here you see my CR10, my Creality Ender 2. Over here we have a Dagama Neva and a FlashForge Finder, which this was my first 3D printer. And we've done a number of cool things with that printer, even though it's a small printer. Believe it or not, we actually made this gun on the FlashForge Finder, just printing those parts in small sections. So anyways, I've actually, in the past year, I've split off and made a dedicated electric unicycle channel called EUC Army, and a dedicated 3D printing channel called Duff 3D, or D3D for short. And my thought process there was to give focused content for people that only are interested in those subject matters, which I found on YouTube that sometimes that's the case. You know, someone just wants videos dealing with their hobby and nothing else. So that's what those channels were created for. All right, so there you have it. There's a brief history of my channel on my road to 1,000 videos. I'm not sure if I'll ever get to 2,000 videos, but I'll do my best. And as always, feel free to leave your feedback below, your thoughts, comments, suggestions, and anything else. And once again, thank you for helping me reach this milestone. Until next time, Duffman out.